Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another new session on mental health. So today we have Diana joining in. So she is an counseling psychologist and the founder of a page called SafeSpace. So thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Lakshit.
Yeah. So
Really
so
happy to be here.
so today's topic is going to be how to deal with rejections. And yeah.
Mm.
So before starting to the topic, if you can speak about yourself and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Diana Sam, and I am a corporate counselor. Which means I work mainly with IT employees. I work with companies which have a wing generally called as Employee Assistant Program, where they generally provide a lot of counseling services to take care
Okay.
of their mental health. So that's where I work. Um, I graduated like a year and a half back from Tata Institute of Social Science, and immediately I started working. So it's been a while that I've been working now, and I've also worked with children with special needs. I'm still exploring what my audience are like and what is the different options that I have as a person.
Okay. Wonderful. So yeah, so as today's topic is on rejection and which is connected to mental health. So before getting into it, like what is really mental health according to you? What do you think is mental health?
Okay, so there is WHO version of mental health and all, but I would say, see, mental health is something that has been rejected for a very long time now. I don't think people spoke about this or even considered this as something very important. I would like to take a parallel example of physical health to speak more about mental health. See, when you're physically feeling ill, or if there is something going wrong in your body starts giving you indications, and you tend to recognize them more faster or start to give them more importance. Like other than mental health, because unlike mental health, what happens is you're going through a lot of psychological issues, or you're going through a lot of emotions. There's a lot of thoughts going on. In fact, I read in a particular article that a person goes through about 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a lot of thought that we have in our head, and I'm sure that we have adjacent feelings and emotions that arise along with it. And sometimes you experience stuckness, and then what happens is that when your mental health is going down, or your mental health is not really good, you can actually see it affecting your physical health as well. If you've
Yeah.
observed a lot of people who are admitted in hospitals, and they are going through a lot of probably physical change or an operation or things like that, you tend to tell the patient to be more positive, and you give them, why do you bring them a lot of flowers and good wishes and things? Because you're trying to bring in a lot of positivity. So your
Yeah.
mind has the power to heal your body, right? So it is something that we haven't registered, maybe because it's not something that you can physically see. Like when somebody is physically ill, you can see that, okay, this person has a cold or something of that sort. But that's
Yeah.
not the case with mental health. Mental health, you can see when that person tells you that, I'm not feeling good, or I'm and that takes a lot to for a person to admit that.
Yeah.
So I think that is pretty much what, if I were to give you an idea of how mental health works.
Okay. Wonderful. Thanks for that. As coming to today's topic, as I already mentioned, it's how mental health is affected because of rejections. So what is rejection first? Like also a bit of rejection and possibly if you can give a and medical thought on it and also and dictionary meaning of it.
Okay. Firstly, I'm not a medical profession. I want that clarification to be
Okay.
made. All right.
Yeah.
Um, See, rejection. Let's say what is rejection? It generally dictionary term is when you're not feeling accepted, right? When there is something that you are aiming for and that's not happening. That's when you feel rejected, right? Now, rejected would be a term, but when you feel rejected, that you go through an a series of different emotions. Maybe you go through a part where you feel extremely angry about the rejection, or you may feel extremely sad about the rejection, or you might just feel blank about the entire thing. All of this is, are common feelings that could possibly arise in
Okay.
rejection. When you say rejection, I would say there are multiple times in life that you feel rejected. It could be, with respect to your work, or with respect to in your family, you might feel rejected. A lot of people feel rejected with respect to their sexuality, or their identity as a human.
Yeah.
Or people when they're trying to even just the small thing, like if a child is trying to put out an idea in the class for a, say, class project,
Yeah.
okay, and the teacher says no, you are experiencing rejection. So it is something that we have been going through a very long period of time,
Okay.
but then it tends to take diverse effects on people over the period of time. So when some, even as a child, when you're experiencing something, that tends to take a different effect on you, whereas as an adult it takes a different effect on you. So that would be something, if I were to say what rejection is.
Okay. Okay. So how can we stop feeling bad for rejections, and what can be the solutions to stop feeling bad for that?
No, can't stop feeling bad for rejection because we all are expecting something, right? Like, say, for example, you are preparing for something. Now, before you, for example, you're applying for a job, you've prepared a lot. You have, you have rehearsed it. You sat in front of a camera, tried asking your friends to take a mock interview. You dressed well, you chose everything perfectly, and for some reason or the other, the interviewer did not choose you. It's not
Okay.
possible to not feel bad, right? A
Yeah.
lot of times, even clients, when they come to me, what they say is, how do I not feel this? It's not possible to not feel
Feel.
something, because
Yeah.
you are going to feel that, right?
Yeah.
And it simply shows that how much interest or how much effort you had taken, or how much expectation or hope you had from that particular thing. So
Yeah.
it's not possible to not feel a particular thing. You are going to feel it.
Okay.
Question is, how do you process that particular feeling,
Yeah.
right? How do you deal with that particular feeling? So if you are feeling bad about something, firstly, we have not learned how to identify our emotions. We have not learned how to name them, if I were to be specific. So when you say I feel bad, you are actually feeling there is no feeling called bad. Your bad feeling is either that you're feeling sad about it, or you are feeling angry about it, right? That is your feeling. And probably your thought is that, oh God, I got rejected. So the first step as a counselor that I would do is to making you identify what is the specific feeling that you're going through. And
Okay.
that is very important, because you need to know, this is what we call as emotional awareness. You need to be aware of what are the different emotions that you're going through. Not that you're going to do anything great about it, you need to give it time. You need to see how is it that you can deal with certain emotions better. But at the same time, unless you acknowledge that this is what I am feeling, if you keep covering it up with different other feelings, you are not going to ever address the actual feeling of yours.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. Again, what kind of mindset somebody or anyone should have to deal with rejections?
Okay. Now, like I said, that we've been going through this rejection phase since we were a child. Okay, you might have even felt rejected as a baby, like you cried and your mom didn't pay attention to you,
Yeah.
rejected, right?
Yeah.
Or you wanted something from your child, your dad or your family members. You want them, you wanted them to pick you up, and they didn't pick you up, right? So though from then till now, you are experiencing rejection. But what is the difference that you have now compared to then is that you have built something called as resilience over a period of time, right? Resilience is when you have the ability to bounce back from something that has already happened. So something that you would feel bad as a child
Okay.
would be might be something that you are not feeling bad as of now. For example, when you cried for a chocolate and you didn't get it,
Hmm.
right? You might not do the same kind of thing at the moment.
Yeah.
No, because you know that, okay, I will either you can get it for yourself, or you're resilient that it's okay, I didn't get this particular food, I can deal with it.
Yeah.
So you've become resilient over a period of time. That comes with even dealing with your emotions. So initially, when someone is not, if your parent figure or somebody who is very close to you did not give you a particular kind of attention or something of that sort, you immediately start crying because that's the way you tend to grab attention of people.
Yeah.
But as an adult, you understand that I am self sufficient. If somebody is not giving me attention, I know how to keep myself equipped, right? So this is something called as resilience that you build over a period of time. Now, as an adult, there could be circumstances that you come across where it is very difficult to be resilient as a person. For example, you go through a breakup or something, right? It is very difficult to. So now you are rejected, right? It's either a breakup, or otherwise you had a crush on someone really a lot, and then finally gathered all the courage to ask that person out, and the person said no, right? A lot of times what happens is you're going through a lot of grief at that time, like just like when there is a loss of someone, you go through kind of the same process when somebody is rejecting you, because it's the same. You thought that is going to happen and that person said no. Now there could be a lot of places where you feel like crying, you feel so much anger, and some people try again. But then what happens is, like, if we were to take some of the context, there are some people who still keep on going back to the same person, and that's when a lot of these behaviors like stalking, or annoying another person, or not understanding what personal space is or opinions are, that's when all that happens. But
Okay.
otherwise, over a period of time, you have to move through your life. But if you're experiencing stuckness, right, you feel like, no, I cannot move on from here, I need to have this relationship happen, that is somewhere you need professional help, and that is somewhere you need to seek out for someone to help you out of that condition, because then there are chances that you might that particular situation might start affecting your mental health. So you might experience sleeplessness, you might experience a lot of irritation and anger, and you're bursting out at everyone possible. A lot of them, like usual, the Devdas phase of, I'm going to drink and I'm going to smoke and I'm going to destroy myself because it's
Yeah.
not going to happen, because that's a phase that you have, right? You might have that phase, but you move on. But if you feel like you are stuck in that phase, that would be reason for you to go and seek mental health help,
Okay.
professional mental health.
Okay. So the last question is, what would be, and as we talked about rejection, so what would be your message regards to rejection? Like, how can we, any message regards to that, or any message regards to how can we be, well, how can we be well through mental health? So anything.
Okay. So one thing, like I said, I know it's a very difficult message, but still you are going to be rejected in your life sometime or the other, and it is going to keep happening. So there is no, I cannot tell you that if you do this, you're not going to be rejected. You are going to be rejected in some part of your life, if not at work, at home, or at family, or even a kid could reject you. But the thing is to understand how is it that I deal with these things, right? So you need to give yourself time. When there could be chances that at that moment you have a lot of these emotions and feelings coming to you, and you do not know how to deal with it, right?
Okay.
So one thing that you can do is to take a step back, relax, and what I tell a lot of people to do is to, like, make a note of what are the feelings that you are going through, because that gives you, like I mentioned earlier, that gives you a lot of awareness as to what are the feelings that I'm going through, what are the emotions I'm going through, what are the thoughts that I'm going through. And then it gives you a better perspective as to what is it that I want to do next. If you are somebody who is feeling really sad and you feel like, this is a low point, it is
Okay.
okay. Give yourself time, right? Don't try to push it so hard that, I have to get this or I have to achieve this in this given time. Then that is you being even more harsh on yourself, because you have to understand you went through rejection,
Yeah.
right? You went through a difficult phase. Now, what you're doing again is putting yourself through a even more difficult time, where you're telling yourself that you got rejected, you're not good. Now you need to get this somehow in with this much amount of time. So you're actually stressing yourself even more out. So give yourself time, and when you feel ready for it, go ahead and start preparing for that particular thing again. Um, if you feel in any of these times, if you feel that I'm not able to help myself, don't hesitate to speak to a counselor, because that person would have a third perspective. That person would be able to help you out so much more easily and so much more smoothly, because we all are trained professionals, right? So it's not about just simply advice giving, or it's not about telling you that if you do this your life will become okay. It's more about you exploring your own thoughts and emotions and things like that. So yeah, that would be a message that I would like to give
Okay,
everyone.
so yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much for doing this wonderful session and speaking about how to deal with rejections through mental well-being. So yeah, thank you very much. It was my pleasure to have you. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Lakshit. Thank you so much for having me.